and we will have two speakers this evening. And the first topic will be the Adamic Transgression, and that will be given by the Dean of the Ontario Branch School, Dr. Joe Williams.
Good evening. I'd like to turn this down a little bit. As always, it's a pleasure and an honor to stand before the assembly of Yahweh Messiah and testify some of the things that has been revealed unto me. I'm happy to be here, and I've enjoyed all the speakers. And up until this time, I've had a good time, and I've been very pleased. I want to thank everyone who has come to support this event. You don't know how much it means to me. And to the Ontario branch as well as to the Oceanside branch. But it's been good, and I'm happy to see you. And we're all brothers in the faith. And what our goal is to preach the death, burial, resurrection of Yahweh Messiah. You see, to help save souls and to elevate one's consciousness out of the depths of hell. Now, let me have Revelation 2nd chapter. Because what we want to do is make sure, I'm not going to try my best not to burn my clock up on preliminaries. Because I'm one of those guys, I'll talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. But I want you to get right on down to business about the issue at hand. But I want to say this one thing first. What's important is that we continue to preach sound doctrine. Doctrine is irrefutable. And we know that this teaching has been all over the world. We've been on 3 ecclesiastical peace missions. And not at one time has anyone ever refuted this teaching. Oh, you may disagree with it, but you will not say that we're wrong. And if you say that we're wrong, then the burden of truth is on you to bring us the truth. Now, when somebody makes a very bold statement, you see, that you're wrong, it's important that you bring the witnesses to support whatever it is you're talking about. Now, our founder and dean has given us an avenue. Well, let me say it like this. Yahweh himself has provided an avenue for us to know him as he really is and as he actually exists. And he has provided us witnesses and evidence to support the things that Yahweh has prepared or that he has declared way back here in the realm of eternity. Now we know at this point in time, in these last days, that the school has been fractured. It has been fractured as a result of some of the principles that are being taught in the school. Now for you to turn your back on that and say, well, that's not so, then obviously you're blind. You see, and one thing that the foundation, what we don't want to lose, is the foundation that our founder has left us. You see, and that is, he showed us how to go into the Bible and to utilize the law and the prophets as a witness. You see, to prove the authenticity of this invisible Yahweh right here. He also given us a pattern. He showed us how the man Moses was caught up in this mount and showed a divine vision and revelation how the Yahweh himself, you see, is the pattern, how he transmuted into this threefold, completely furnished tabernacle. And how he told us to use this tabernacle as a witness. You see, and that told Moses to build this tabernacle out here in the witness, and over in Acts, Stephen talks about how that this is the tabernacle of witness. Now read Revelations right now, please.
2 and 1.
2 and 1, please.
Revelations 2 and 1.
Read.
Unto the angel of the assembly of Ephesus write, These things saith he that holdeth the 7 stars in his right hand,
Read.
who walketh in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks.
Read on.
I know thy works, and thy labor, and thy patience, and how thou canst not bear them which are evil.
Now keep this in mind. This is John, who's been caught up in the spirit, and he's out here in exile. And Yahweh is giving him a vision. He's showing him something. Because he has to warn the people. Read.
And thou hast tried them,
Read.
which say they are apostles,
Read.
and are not.
Read.
And hast found them liars.
Read on.
And hast borne, and hast patience.
Read.
And hast for my name's sake hast labored, and hast not fainted.
Go ahead.
Nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee.
Now John is saying that I got a little problem with you now. Read.
Nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love.
They've left their first love. And that is what's happened to the school. They have left their first love. Now the first love of the school is this tabernacle You see, and the thing we say in our moderation that absolutely nothing escaped the pattern. You see, now if absolutely nothing escaped the pattern, don't be jamming me up and question me about or get mad at me when I ask you for proof. You see, because it's all in the moderation that absolutely nothing escaped the pattern. Now when you start teaching principles that you cannot prove, you should teach. It may very well be true. But if you can't prove it and provide the witnesses, you see, then you shouldn't teach it. It's the same thing as you take a medication. You see, like all these big pharmaceutical companies like Merck and Pfizer, you know good well you're not going to take no medication. It ain't been proven. If it ain't good enough for you, it should be the same for your soul. If it ain't good enough for your physical body. Yeah. You want to have some proof and some evidence and some research done to provide, to show forth the adverse effects of that drug on your body. You see, likewise, the same thing with your soul. You see, we want to make sure we put the right substance in the man's soul. Because you do have a soul. And let me say this while I'm here. You are not going to get a new soul. Right. It just ain't going to happen. But what you will get is a soul made new. That's what you're going to get. Yeah. You see, that's what the cleansing, you see, and the washing that is going on in this tabernacle. And if you can't reference a principle by this tabernacle, then you obviously don't know what you're talking about. Now, don't tell me just believe it, because I'm not going to believe it. I didn't come in that way. I didn't teach people in the past that way, and I'm not moving that way. You see, I want to stick with the things that got me this far, and until someone show me something different, and I'm one of those people that, you know, look for Reserve State, you got to show me. You see? And listen, I just have to have peace, you see, when it comes to this teaching. You see? But you can't leave your first love, and that is the path. 2 Timothy 4:2. Let's move. Now it's important. Now that's what John said. Now here's the Apostle Paul. He is saying this. Read.
2 Timothy 4:2.
Read.
Preach the word.
Preach the word. Now this is the word. It's already been brought up. The Yahweh, you see, He is made up of these attributes of divine intelligence, wisdom, and knowledge, love, duty, justice, foundation, power, and strength. And the founder taught how that these attributes took on an organized shape and form. And this is the word. Now listen, folks. When Yahweh, when Elohim was in the midst of this cloud, and let me say this. We know that Yahweh Elohim is in the midst of the cloud. You see? But in this state and condition, He is not in this cloud looking like that. But He is in the midst of the cloud. I like to say He's in this so-called unorganized shape and form. Now, at no time are we dealing with a Yahweh that's not organized. Right. That does not have order. Right. You see? But in that He has a purpose that is in operation, you see, that has to also have order to carry it out. Now, in that, He purposed the purpose way back here in the realm of eternity. When He purposed it with you in mind. He knew that you, the man, would not understand Him in His pure spirit state. So it necessitated Him to come down out of His pure spirit state. You see, now let me say this while I'm here. You see, we know that, we say Yahweh is pure spirit. You see, incomprehensible, inscrutable, indiscernible. You cannot look at that cloud and discern what's in the midst of that cloud. And when you look at the cloud, you can't say whether it's good or bad or negative or positive. Yet it is Yahweh declaring the good and also Yahweh declaring the evil. Matter of fact, it's right there on that chart right here. Talking about the word. You see here, Yahweh, Eya, Asher, Eya. I will be what I will be. It is Him playing out both mysteries. And we know that there's only one mystery, and that is the mystery of Yahweh. And encounced in that mystery is the mystery of righteousness and the mystery of unrighteousness. But it is Yahweh Himself that is carrying out both mysteries. Who else gonna do it? Yeah. But Him. But we have to preach the word of Yahweh. Read.
Preach the word.
Read.
Be instant, in season, out of season.
In other words, folks, you know how some folks are. They come to class on Sunday and learn about Yahweh. Then when they leave, all they forget all about class. You know what I mean? And then they go back to their old ways and don't use the tools. You see, and the privilege that we give them. What this stuff's supposed to do is raise you from the dead, not keep you in it. Right. You see? And see, our founder told us that He says, you're Yahweh. See, most of us, a lot of us put the screen that we got a satanic spirit, the carnal mind, and physical body. But when you're Yahweh, you want to put that to make light of that. But that's what he wants you to know, that you're Yahweh. And everything in the universe is also Yahweh, including Fido in the backyard. Because you know how it is with some folks. They find out they're Yahweh. Next thing you know, business, want to kick down doors and think because of Yahweh, they can start doing everything they want to do. You see? But when you find out that you're Yahweh, what it does is humbles you.
That's right.
It humbles you, you see, and what it allows you to do is to become a servant.
Yes.
Because that's what we are. We are servants. And we're putting our lives on the line. For who? For you. For those of you that there is in you. You see? Let's move.
Preach the word.
Read.
The instant, in season,
Read.
out of season.
Read on.
Reprove.
Reprove. That don't mean prove it again. Reprove means to rebuke. You see, and we have to rebuke principles, you see, with the law and the prophets. What are you talking about? Here it is here. If someone, the scripture says, to the law and to the testimony, they speak not according to this word because there is no light in them. Now, if the scripture support that the man sinned, someone comes along and says that he didn't sin, then I need to go back to the word of sources to rebuke you with that. That's what rebuke means. To reprove means to rebuke. But let's move.
Exhort with all long suffering and
Read on.
doctrine.
Read.
For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine.
Now this, what we're teaching down here is sound doctrine. Nobody gonna say when we say what we're talking about is wrong. Not this. See, the question is, do you believe the report?
Yeah.
Do you believe the record that the founder left? See, what he preaches on him, the archetype pattern, the archetype, original pattern of the universe. That's the record that he left. But the question is, do you believe the report? Because he got witnesses, we got evidence, and then your body, your physical body, is a witness to this teaching. There ain't no way around it. When you agree with it, we disagree with it. Your body will manifest the perfect plan of Yahweh from start to finish, whether you're conscious of it or not. You see, that's the beauty in the teaching. You see, that Israel was moving by this pattern even though they were not yet conscious of it. You see? But let's move.
For the time will come,
Read.
they will not endure sound doctrine.
Read on.
But after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears.
In other words, folks get for years ago, when I was in this teaching, when I was in school, folks used to get tired of us talking about blood, water, spirit, 40. Matter of fact, it got so bad that now the very same people who was trying to push blood, water, spirit 40, now they're saying, we don't want to hear that no more. You see? And what I'm telling you is things that I heard with my own ears that people come to Ontario talk. You see? And listen, folks are saying now that these charges are antiquated. And they was for a time being present. That we don't need no proof. We don't need no evidence. That the proof is in you. Yeah, it is, but how do you know that? You see? How do you know that the proof is in you? Now, you know, they got drugs out now these days. So now some people really, you don't have no choice. I mean, like the people who have the AIDS virus. When you have a manifestation of AIDS, you really don't care what you take. It's not like you ain't gonna die anyway. So just give it to me, let me try. I'm already in bad shape. So they had to change some of the laws, you see, so they can go ahead instead of 10 years to test the drug. You might not have 10 years. You see, but just give it to me now. It's not like you know what I mean? You see, but the fact of the matter, the point I'm trying to make is, we gotta have that proof and that evidence and that witness. You see, that's the point I'm trying to make. A little bit more, and I'm almost through with that.
And they shall turn away their ears from the truth.
Read.
And shall be turned unto fables.
In other words, don't turn your back on these on the founder. These charts are not backdrops. You see, if this is all you know, that's enough to get you in the kingdom. If that's all you know, you see, that's the way it is. If you just know one thing about this principle, and counting any principle is the entire purpose plan of Yahweh, from start to finish. Just that, if that's all you know. Now, you know, some folks don't want to know no more. They feel like that's too much. And I'm all for progression. You see, but I'm talking about moving from arithmetic to mathematics, from mathematics to algebraic equations, from algebraic equations on to trig and geometry and to calculus. That's progression. But the principle of arithmetic is also applied in calculus and algebra and math. That's the kind of progression I'm talking about. But don't change the principle. That's what I'm talking about. Don't change the principle, and I'm all right with you.
That's right.
You see, that's where I'm coming from. All right? A little bit more, I think I'm through with that.
Verse 5. But watch thou in all things.
Read.
Endure affliction.
Read.
Do the work.
In other words, I have no problem standing alone. Why? I have a whole host of angels to support me. You see, what we do in this school, we go way back up here and around eternity. And we summons Moses and the prophets to be a witness for us today. About the things that went on way back who knows when. You see, but in that we have a pattern. That's how we'll reconcile. You see, and understanding what the founders talking about, what John talking about, and all the prophets are talking about, in that we operate by a pattern. The only way, folks, we're going to reconcile is that we utilize the pattern. You see, because we have a love for the pattern. That's the only way out. Because, see, Yahweh himself, he is the pattern. What I mean by that is this. When Moses was called up in the mount, you see, Yahweh, now Moses going alone by himself. He went with the man who invited him up, which was Joshua the son of Nun. And he transformed into the spirit man right here. And Moses was a witness to how Joshua transformed into this anthropomorphic being. He also saw how he transformed into the threefold completely furnished tabernacle. For what? To show him the origin of the man. The origin of mankind, the origin of creation. And Moses was a witness to that because and when he understood that, that's how you understand that you come in the very same exact way. You see what I'm talking about? Read.
But watch thou in all things. Endure affliction.
Read.
Do the work of an evangelist.
Read on.
Make full proof of thy ministry.
Make full proof of thy ministry. That's good enough. Now let's head to Romans 5 and 12. Now, there's nobody in this room that is without fault. I mean, there's nobody. Everybody is with fault. If that was not so, we wouldn't be here. And when you find yourself, you will find yourself with fault. You see, now if you're righteous, then we ought to be sitting up here listening to you. And nobody comes in righteous. Innocent, yes, but not righteous. You see, there ain't none righteous saving Yahshua the Messiah. You see, but let's read. Genesis. Let's start at 1:24. I apologize. John 5 and 12. Now this is the Apostle Paul. This is what he says.
Romans 5 and 12?
Yes, please.
Romans 5:12.
Read.
Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world.
Now, if by one man sin entered the world.
And
now, what he's making reference to is transgression, sin being the transgression of the law. The Mosaic law. That's what he's talking about. Because he's looking right at it. But in this respect, he's talking about the man Adam. You see, who's going to bring sin in? Now, transgression means to exceed the limits. And Yahweh gave this man a law before the Mosaic law came in. You see, but he gave this man a law.
Yeah.
And this man brought sin in. Now, if Adam didn't sin, then who brought it in? In other words, if Adam did not sin, then how did it get in? Because it was most certainly not by the woman.
Right.
If the woman brought sin, then she needed to have her butt up on this cross.
That's right.
If she brought it in. And if she brought the purpose down, then she too also had to be up on the cross. But let's read it.
Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world,
Read.
death by sin.
Read on.
And so death passed upon all men,
Read on.
that all have sinned. For until the law, sin was in the world,
Read.
but sin was not imputed when there is no law.
In other words, sin is not imputed where there is no law. Now see, these folks, you know how we are. We put a stop sign. The reason why we got stop signs, because some of us just don't want to slow down for pedestrians. You see? So we got to put a stop sign up there to get your attention, like you don't know better. You do, but you're just willfully ignorant. You're just disobedient. In other words, we are so disobedient that we need help to be obedient. That's why we get spankings, whoopings and beatings and all that kind of stuff. You see, and Yahweh loves his son. He also loved his bride. And listen, Israel was a stiff-necked, disobedient woman.
Right.
You see, just like some of our kids. Same way. You still love them. And you suffer through that. Read.
Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses.
Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam all the way down to Moses. Not the man Moses. Because what he's talking about is this. You see, we know that Adam died in his consciousness. And he lived to be 930 years old. You see, but the dispensation of Adam went on. Because it's Yahweh that opened and closed the age of the dispensations. You see, and listen, when Yahweh spoke to Noah, it closed that dispensation and opened up the next. And we know that Noah lived to be 950 years old. And he died. But the dispensation of Noah was going on. You see, and when Yahweh talked to Abraham, you see, and he died. You see, but the dispensation of Abraham was going on. And then Moses, we talked to Moses, we know that Moses lived to be what? 120 years old, I believe. And we also know that he died out here and is buried on this side of the river, and he was buried out here in Mount Nebo. But we also know that the dispensation of Moses was still going on all the way down to the cross. So death reigned from Adam all the way to Moses. Because see what Yahweh did, real quickly, I ain't going to read it because over in Hebrews it talks about how the ages were framed. You see, you can see how it was framed by the man. You see, as the company order, it's just framed. You see, right here. Adam, Noah, Melchizedek, Abraham, Moses, coming on down. Death reigned from Adam on down to Moses. Read.
Even over them that had not sinned after the
That picks
similitude.
us up. Come on, read on.
Even after them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression.
Read. In other words, we all took on that transgression. That's why we're all in darkness. When we're born psychologically and spiritually dead.
Yeah.
Not devils.
Right.
We're born psychologically and spiritually dead. What are you talking about? See, Israel. You see, Yahweh raised Israel from the dead. And let me say this. There was nothing righteous in them. There was nothing righteous in them here. There was nothing righteous in them here. And there was absolutely nothing righteous in them here. She was stiff-necked and uncircumcised all the way through until the day of Pentecost.
Yeah.
Whereby they become recipients of the gift of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
But it was Yahweh that took care of his son, that took care of his bride all the way. He took care of his woman.
Yeah.
You see, why? Because he took care of her right in the beginning. You see, right here. You see, let's read.
Who is a figure of him that was to come.
Read.
But not as the offense, so also is the free gift.
That's good enough right there. Now pick up Genesis 1 and 24, because I got to move.
Genesis 1 and 24.
Mm-hmm.
And Elohim said, Let
Read.
the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, and cattle and creeping things and beasts of the earth after his
Now
kind.
Yahweh now has called Moses up in this mountain, and he showed him a vision in Revelation. You see, and now he's showing Moses how the creation was assembled. You see, by a pattern. Him being the true original pattern. Him transmuting into the threefold completely furnished tabernacle, having 9 vessels as a result of these 9 divine attributes. And if you see here, this heart and this man, they're one and the self same. And if you see here, there was a man declared first on each day. You see, all the way down. You see, you got the man, and then you got a body. You got a head, you got a body. You see, read on.
And Elohim made the beast of the earth
Read.
after his kind, and
Read.
the cattle after their kind,
Read on.
and everything that creepeth upon the earth.
In other words, folks, seed bears seed after his own kind. What are you talking about? Yahweh both master and feminine within himself. He does not have to go outside of himself to create or to procreate. Therefore, what he's doing, when he purposed that purpose, he purposes it right within himself. And everything in the universe is a manifestation of him. What you're looking at is spirit materialized. In other words, these attributes of intelligence, wisdom, knowledge, love, beauty, justice, foundation, power, and strength took on an organized shape and form. And the purpose was declared right here in the cloud. Now, when you see Elohim, he is an execution of the purpose. And he is also a declaration of what Yahweh declared back here in this cloud. Now, in that he is the declaration, when the purpose moved, it moved from one state condition to another. Therefore, you see the purpose laid down in each day of creation all the way down to the man, which is what we're going to work with. Now you see that this man Adam, you see, he was formed from the dust of the earth. You see, and seed bears seed after his own kind. Now, the man, he does have a makeup. And his makeup is spirit, soul, and body. It is made up of these divine attributes. Tell me something that is not made up of these attributes. Including the devil has these attributes. But the difference is, it is in negation.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I had to do this early because I cannot spell these days. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. In other words, when you look at the image or the make of the man, you see righteousness and you see unrighteousness. Now, all of these are spiritual principles here, folks. Intelligence, wisdom, and knowledge, love, beauty, justice, foundation, power, strength. That is the makeup of Yahweh Elohim. Now, look. Each one of these attributes, it is spirit. You see? And the arrangement of these attributes is his body. You see? It is a spiritual embodiment. You see? Now, in the Yahweh purpose, the purpose way back in the realm of eternity. You see? The purpose that is encouched within Yahweh Elohim is his eternal soul. Therefore, he is the soul of souls. You see? So when he formed the man Adam, this man has to be fashioned after this one here. If he's male and female here, he has to be male and female here. If he's Yahweh here, it has to be Yahweh Elohim who takes up residence in that body. And if you look here, I ain't got time to draw it out. He's going to say, you see how his heart is here. You see, and as he takes up residence in this man, you can see that the man's head becomes illuminated, meaning that he has a living soul. Pick it up real quick, I'm running out of time. Genesis 1:26.
Genesis 1:26.
Read on.
I'm here. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness.
In his image, after his likeness. Read on.
And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing.
He gave the man dominion. You see, over the kingdom. In other words, this is the kingdom. And matter of fact, he is the kingdom of kingdoms. And then he created an animal kingdom, and he also created a plant kingdom. But you have to have a king and a kingdom. Then he set up the man Adam. But it's Yahweh himself just hiding himself. In other words, it is Yahweh who's taking up residence in Adam. We say it like this in Ontario. The darkest place in the universe is the man's consciousness. Why? Because that's where Yahweh hides. And you walk around thinking you all this and all that. The reality is, you don't know who you are. It don't make no sense to come down here and be in this teaching if you don't know who you are. It just makes absolutely no sense. And it don't make no sense to be in this teaching for 25, 30 years and you still don't know who you are. This teaching ain't gonna do you no good until you know who you are. What spirit that is in the man. Who's running the show? And it is Yahweh himself, it is not you. Matter of fact, let me say this while I'm here. There ain't no such thing as a you and a Yahweh in that body. And if you don't understand that, you better wake up and smell the coffee. There's no you and a Yahweh in that body. Now some folks say, well, I know Yahweh's in me, but I ain't Yahweh. Well, who are you? Well, I'm Joe. Well, that's the word you answer by. What spirit is in you? We want you to understand you are Yahweh. Joe is not Yahweh. You're Yahweh. Everything's Yahweh. You see, but there is no two spirits in the body. Never has been and never will be. I don't care how much you pray for, it ain't going to happen. There's only one Yahweh in a body. And there's only one spirit in a body. And everything in the universe is a manifestation of Yahweh himself. That is known, unknown, visible, invisible, animate, and inanimate. It is Yahweh himself, including you. You see, as a matter of fact, you are what you've been looking for. Please, not your habits and your behavior. That's not what I'm talking about. You see? Now, he made the man in his likeness and image, and also he set up a king. You see, and that is the man Adam. That is Yahweh made manifest. In other words, that is the kingdom on earth. Read on.
So Elohim created man in his own image.
Read.
In the image of Elohim created he him.
Read.
Male and female created he them.
Read on.
And Elohim blessed them.
Now it says male and female created he them. The woman was encouched within the man. He has to be male and female because he's reflecting what's going on back here. In other words, what we're doing, we're bringing heaven down. You see? Read on.
And Elohim blessed them, and Elohim said unto them,
Read.
Be fruitful and multiply.
Now he said he gave the man a command that be fruitful and multiply because the woman was still encouched with the man. Read on.
And replenish the earth.
And let me say this. In that he gave the man dominion over all the beasts of the field, he did not give him dominion over the woman. Although when you read it, you may think that. But he didn't give the man, Adam, dominion over the woman. Read.
And have dominion over the fish of the sea.
Read.
And over the fowl of the
Read.
air.
Read
And
on.
over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
In other words, folks, that's why you go duck hunting, pigeon hunting. That's why we go to the zoo and look at the elephants and the orangutans and the lions and so on and so forth to entertain us. That's why we examine the animals. They don't examine us, they eat us if they get an opportunity. You see? Because the man had dominion. That's why we fish. For fun. Eat catfish, buffalo, perch. You see? Because the man had dominion, folks. You're a king. I'm talking about right now, you got to recognize. Read.
And Elohim said, Behold, I have given you herb bearing seed,
Read on.
which is upon the face of all the earth,
Read.
and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed.
Mm-hmm.
To you it shall be for meat, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air,
Read.
and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so.
Their word, Dr. Kelly said it like this, that Yahweh gave the man a belly. The question come up, we're both eating in the garden? Yes. Now you ought to know that because when you get here, you eat, don't you? So when Yahweh put the man in the garden, believe me, he was eating too. The fruit, you see, that was in the garden. But he wasn't eating no hogs and no chickens and no cows at that time. When he told them, that came later. You see, but read on.
And Elohim saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good.
It was good, and it was very good. That including the devil. You see, now I ain't got time to draw this out, but listen, folks, Yahweh cast, real quick, Revelation 12 and 8. And go down to Genesis 1, I believe it's 1 and 14, where he gave him the law. Pick up Revelation real quick, let's go ahead and read Genesis 2:14.
Revelations 12 and 8.
Hold it. Genesis 2:14 real quick.
Genesis 2 and 14.
Read.
And the name of the third river is...
Nah, you reading King. Oh, that's 17 in your book.
And Yahweh Elohim commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden thou
Yes.
mayest freely eat,
Uh-huh.
but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die.
Now keep this in mind. There is a purpose in operation. And Yahweh is going to bring his purpose down through the man. And if you want to understand the purpose and plan of Yahweh, you must go back to the man. Don't be looking all up looking for Jesus. Come here, surfing on no cloud. It ain't happening. And don't look for Dr. Kelly. Come back, surfing on a cloud. And let me say this. Don't be going to sleep, trying to dream, looking for this shape and form, because it ain't going to happen. Because Elohim don't look like that. You better wake up. Elohim looks like this. And that's a picture of illustration, too. And look, it's so bad. See, you can't tell one from the other. You see, in other words, you got righteousness, you got unrighteousness. You see, but listen, folks, this line, see, because you have intelligence, wisdom, and knowledge, love, beauty, justice, foundation, power, and strength, what we do, we pervert that. I like to always start off with a lie because, see, in order for you to tell a lie, you have to know the truth first.
Right.
You see? And listen, when you tell a lie, it gives birth to dishonesty and deception.
Yeah.
You see? And then, you see how we are, you got envy.
Yeah.
You see, envy gives birth to hatred and rage. Ask OJ. You see? You know how we are as a man. Nobody want nobody looking at their woman. Likewise with the woman. Somebody start reconciling your man, you start tripping. You see, jealousy, all that kind of stuff. And you know, I ain't gonna get into that, I can run out of time. But the fact of the matter is, envy gives birth to hatred and rage. You see, and then evil gives birth to malice and murder. You see, now when you have this reign into you, you can always tell what's happening. All you gotta do is open your mouth. Because it's the Institute of Divine Metaphysical Research. We're discerning spirits. What's operating within you? All you gotta do is open your mouth. You see, you can be at the bus stop and somebody says, oh, no, wait, so we know that's a brother over there. Because what's coming out of his mouth. But when they start saying, and Jesus this and Jesus that, and the flag, and walk around the Bible with a front, we know who you are. We know that you wanted this delusion right here. They say, you ought to be wearing that cross backwards. Because see, the cross represents death. That might even give you a little respect if you put it behind you. You see, because we want to know Yahshua and the power of his resurrection. Not after his death.
That's right.
But let's move on. But before I want you to see, you guys see the difference between the two. Now pick up Revelation 12 and 8.
Revelations 12 and 7. And there was a war in heaven.
There was what?
War.
No, go back and read that again.
There was war in heaven.
There you go. There was war in heaven. Read.
Michael and his angels
Read.
fought against the dragon.
Read on.
And the dragon fought and his angels.
Read.
And prevailed not.
Read on.
Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Now look, folks. We have Satan being cast, this place 14, he's being cast out of heaven. And you see here a 666. And you have a pack of angels. You see, in other words, it is Satan leading the pack. You see? Now listen up, folks. It is Yahweh who cast them. Let me say it like this. There's a purpose in operation. You see? And there's a warfare that's going on. You see? Now listen, that same warfare you're going to recognize within yourself. Because see, you run around thinking this is you. But there's an inner man. That's the real essence of you. You see, anyway, the point I'm trying to make, Yahweh cast him out into the earth. And listen, when Adam gets to the garden, listen, folks, Lucifer's also there. Well, let's move.
And he heard a loud voice.
That's good enough right there. I ain't got time to draw that out. Go back to Genesis. Well, left off. We left off.
And Yahweh commanded, 16,
To 17.
17. But of the tree of knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of
Read.
it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die.
But when that state was made, the woman was still in the man. Read.
And Yahweh Elohim said,
Read.
It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make him a helpmeet.
Now he need a helpmeet. A woman that is suitable for the man. That's what meat means, to be fit, to be suitable, acceptable to the man. Couldn't be with the doggone elephants. Couldn't be with the orangutans and the gorillas and the monkeys. Oh, they tried. Hey, don't get me wrong, folks. You got folks right now kicking with the animals. Come on, you know that. But you ain't gonna bear no seed. Because seed bears seed after its own kind. Let's move.
And out of the ground Yahweh Elohim formed every beast of the field
Read.
and every fowl of the air.
Read
and
on.
brought them unto Adam, and to see what he would call them.
Now listen. Adam named all the animals. And listen, Elohim didn't decide he's going to do that after he took on shape and form. It was already set up what he was going to do. When Elohim made an exodus out of the cloud, you see, he could do no more than be obedient what was declared from within the cloud. You see, so what he's doing, he's declaring on earth what was purpose way back here and around the eternity. That's an elephant, that's an orangutan, that's a lion, that's a cheetah. He's just bringing heaven right on down, being an obedient son. Because remember, he had to be obedient to death. Because there was a death here, so there had to be a death here. Read on.
And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name.
It was so. Read on.
And Adam gave the names to all the cattle and to the fowl of the air and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was none found a helpmeet for him.
Now here's the woman coming in. We got the man. He got a king, but he ain't got no woman. Okay? A woman that's fit for him. A bride that is fit for him. You see? So now Yahweh gonna give him one. He can't make his own, but Yahweh gonna give him one. Read.
And And Yahweh Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam.
Uh-huh.
He slept.
Now let me say this. You have to see the man without sin. I'm going to say it like this. You got to see him without fault, but you can also see him with fault. You got to see the woman without fault, but you can also see her with fault. That's the way it's set up. You got to see the man without fault, but you got to also see him with fault. All right? Now let's read.
And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh thereof.
So he put the man in a deep sleep. Read on.
And the rib which Yahweh Elohim had taken from the man, made he a woman.
So he draws the woman out. Now listen, folks. God still what's going on in the sixth day. So don't tell me that when she took a toenail out, she was already in sin. That's a lie. Because he ain't still created. We still ain't even transgressed.
That's right.
And when the creation came in, it came in perfection. In perfection. So when she put a toenail out, she was without sin. Now she was set up to fall. But let me say this, as long as she was in the one, the man, she was safe, man. You know how we are. Now, see, when I lived on the west side, at that time, those guys wasn't bad. For those who know what 5th Avenue and 74th and all over there, you know about Kent. Those were no bad guys back 25 years ago. That's where you wanted to live. But on the east side, I'm talking about the Watts, the slums, the ghetto. You follow me? That's where the tough guys were, all the gangs and all that. Now, I'm going to tell you how I was. When I was on the west side, I was tough. I would walk around here, get all up in the guy's face. But when I went to the east side, I was like I had my books. I had, you know what I mean? I was obedient. I was like I had some sense. You know why? Because I was scared. I knew that when I walked into in those days, you see, when you walk, so if a pack of guys was there, you can't just walk through them, but you can't walk across the street either. You had to walk right on through. Just go around, but don't walk through them. Then they know you're not scared. You see, but if you walk through them, that means you want to fight. You see, I'm a scary guy at that time. Still is, believe it or not. I'm a non-violent kind of guy. You see, but the fact of the matter is, when you have a whole host of guys, you know, helping you out, backing you up, you know you can talk real bad. But when you're alone and by yourself, you're a scary little so-and-so. You ain't gonna do nothing. You're gonna back down and act like you got some sense. You see? Well, let me tell you something. This man Adam was not like that. You see? Now let's move real quick. I gotta move.
22. And the rib which Yahweh Elohim had taken from the man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man.
Mm-hmm.
And Adam said,
Now here Yahweh presents the man with his bride. All right? After he put him in a deep sleep. He presents the man with his bride. You see? Now read.
And Adam said, This is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh.
Read on.
She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man.
Now this was Adam's wife. Like it or not. You see? That was Adam's wife. Read.
Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife.
In other words, as Elohim moved on the face of the deep, you see, he's impregnating virgin Mother Earth, his bride. And then he gives birth to the man. You see? So here comes the man. And Yahweh takes up residence in the man. Because now he's going to bring the purpose down through the man. You see? Now, if he's male and female here, he got to draw the woman out. Not for himself, but for you. To show you that he is. Now, he brings the woman out. Now he got his bride. Everybody else got a bride. The elephant got a bride. The orangutan got a bride. The gorilla got a bride. Now the man got a bride. And they are in perfect harmony. Right up here in this garden. There it is right there. Now, you know how a devil is. Or an animal that just studies his prey. In other words, when a litter of animals come along, there's one called the Omega. That's the one you just kick around. He can't eat first. You eat last. Everybody else eat first. You know what I mean? Just get on back. You see, that's the Omega. The last one. The weak one. You see, now we up in the garden, we got two brides. We got a man and a woman. And both of them were called Adam. You see, Genesis 10:8. Now the devil was already in the garden because Yahweh cast him out. We just read that. And listen, the devil studies his prey. Now how do you know that? Let's read. Come on, we gotta move
Genesis
now.
10 and 8, and Cush begat Nimrod.
Cush begot Nimrod.
He began to be a mighty one in the earth.
He's a mighty hunter. Read. Go
He
ahead.
was a mighty hunter
Read.
before Yahweh.
So he's a hunter. You see? And he has studied his prey. Now Yahweh gave the man Adam a command. Said, don't eat his fruit. And when Adam passed by that tree, he just passed by like it was no big thing and ate everything else. You follow me? But when the woman passed by the tree, you know how she is. You see, she looked right at that tree and kept moving right on. You see, Adam, he just walked past that tree because he's an obedient son. There's a strong man in the house. You see, but when that woman, she ain't in him no more. She passed by that tree, she ain't ate yet, but then, okay, so you know what? That's how Lucifer knew to go to the woman and not the man. You know why? He looks almost like the one who cast him out of heaven. Go on messing with him. You see? So listen, he goes to the woman. And this is what he does. Jump down. 3.
I'm sorry.
Genesis 3:1.
3-1, yeah.
Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field that Yahweh Elohim had made.
Read.
He said unto the woman,
Read.
Yea, as Elohim said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, Ye shall not eat of
That's
it,
the conversation.
neither shall you touch it.
That's the conversation. Now what the devil say now?
And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die.
Now look, folks. He appeared to her in her consciousness. She was having a vision. And look, there was only 2 persons in the garden. That was Adam and Eve. And she knew what the law was. And she goes to the tree. And listen, Adam knew she was going to do it. Now we got a pattern here. And we got, listen, Adam sitting on the earth, just like Elohim is sitting on the throne. He's sitting between 2 trees. We got Michael and Gabriel. The woman was encountering with the man, so we know that's like the Lord being encountering in the Ark of the Covenant. You see? So we got a pattern we're sliding over here. You see? We got fruit trees out here which is likened to those angels. You see? Now let's read.
And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die, for Elohim does know that in the day that ye eat thereof.
It's the same thing if a guy tell a woman, you know I love you, and you don't know what love is. And you buy it. That's why we get so mad at teenagers. They believe anything. But let's move.
For Elohim does know that in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as God.
Now, obviously, he wasn't talking about his physical eyes. Talking about his spiritual eyes. You understand? This, the metaphysics, the essence of the man. But read on.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food.
Now, he twisted that thing. You see? And the woman looked at the tree. Now, let's just assume that's the tree. Now, she looked at the tree. Go ahead on.
When the woman saw the tree, that it was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes.
Now, look, folks, she looked at the tree. All right? Keep it spiritual. And she thought it was pleasant to the eyes, so it appealed to her. All right? Read on.
The tree to be desired.
And one to be desired, right?
One wise.
To make one wise. Now, wisdom was part of her makeup. She was already out of him. And he made her think she's going to become something that she already was. She looked at it, she appealed to her, and she desired it. Now look, folks, the only way you're going to have a desire is you have an experience. She was eating all the other fruit, but she wanted to know what this is. In other words, if you drink a cup of coffee without sugar, somebody may say, come along and say, once you have a cup of coffee with sugar, it's a variation of the coffee. Or if you have ice cream, sometimes it's strawberry, praline, you get my point. A variation of that. Well, that fruit, the olive, was a variation of all the other fruit. And she desired it because she had an experience. And if you have an experience, that triggers memory. And if you have memory, guess what? You want some more. It's the same thing when you kiss a girl for the first time. You know, you looked at her because you liked her. You see? And you kissed her because you had with that experience. So you remember that. You know what? You want to go back and kiss her again. You see? You cannot have desire without an experience. But read on.
She took of the fruit thereof.
So she took the fruit and she ate it. Read.
And gave also to her husband.
Nothing happened.
That's right.
Nothing happened. But she took the fruit and she gave it to her husband. Read on.
And he didn't.
Now he did it. Now guess what? Read.
And the eyes of them both.
Now the eyes of them both were open. What are you talking about? There go to your second bell. It's going up now. So when you say Adam didn't sin, I got a problem with that. Now let me say this. Adam was not a sinful man. He was not a sinful man. He laid his life down willingly for his bride. That's right. You see, don't tell me that Adam could do whatever he wanted to do in the garden, because he couldn't. Because the purpose was already set up way back here. And when Adam took on shape and form, hey, he just executed what already been set up. And listen, if he can do anything he want to do down here, then he is not a just Yahweh. Just like Yahweh purposed to put the sun in heaven on the fourth day, you see, and he illuminated the way all the way up here, but he allowed the sun to illuminate the rest of the way. You see, because he's being obedient to his own law that he set up. So when the man gets in the garden, he has to be obedient to that. So listen, in that he died here, he has to also die here. So he lays his life down for his bride. In other words, what he is doing, he is taking responsibility for the woman. Just like you take responsibility for your kid, just like Yahweh put you on earth, and he also took responsibility for that. He set up the sacrifice. He set up the kingdom before the foundation of the world. He took responsibility for you. So therefore, the man has to take responsibility for his woman. And not only that, when he partook of the fruit, it was an olive. An olive had oil in it. And what the oil did was this. It anointed him to operate in the flesh, or to bring the purpose down. But the woman did not bring the purpose down when she ate the fruit. It had to be the man. The man brought the purpose down. That's why it had to be the man to get back up on that cross. He was obedient to death. He was obedient to death. 1 Timothy, I think of 1 Timothy, maybe 2 Timothy 2:14, real quick. But the man was not deceived. He knew what he was doing. It's the same thing, folks, as this. You know how you go with a traffic ticket? Because see, I don't like, there's two types of witnesses. There's cogent witnesses, and then there's impeachable witnesses. Now, impeachable witnesses are like the one that the guy gave the other night. Forget who said it. You see, but the fact of the matter is an impeachable witness means that you're at the crime of the scene, you say you saw something, but you really didn't see it. The evidence supports that the man got shot with a gun, and you say he got stabbed with a knife. So you're an impeachable witness. You're not credible. But a cogent witness, that is a witness that is not impeachable. It's credible. The evidence corroborates the story. You see? So it's believable. Because you wasn't there. If you were on the jury, you wasn't there. But you want to look at the evidence to make a sound decision. You see? Now, in this case, you see, what we're looking at is the man Adam. You see? And if you say that the man did not sin, you got to support that. You see? Now, if Adam said he sinned, which you're going to read about, he's a confessed sinner. The founder said he sinned. The Apostle Paul we just read said he sinned. Moses said he sinned. Why would you come along and say he didn't? 2 Timothy 2:14.
1 Timothy 2:14. And Adam was not deceived.
He was not deceived, but he did transgress. He laid his life down for his bride. Now, when you do get that ticket at the courthouse, you can either plead guilty or not guilty, no other way. Now, they do allow you to plead no contest. What that basically means is this. You're guilty, but guilty with an explanation. Because you can't fix your mouth to say, I'm guilty. Because there was extenuating circumstances to say that the reason why I ran the red light because I saw this guy coming behind me real fast and I had to run the red light to keep him from hitting me. I ran the red light, but I was not being obedient. I was trying to save my life and somebody else's. But I'm guilty. And you know what you're doing? You're asking the one who sits on the seat of authority to have mercy on you. Because the Yahweh had mercy on the man. And believe me, I'm like David. You see, if anybody going to judge me, I want to be Yahweh. But definitely not the man, because I know nobody going to give me no mercy. Not no man. Maybe a few. But I know Yahweh will give me mercy. I know that for the sure. You see, but the fact that the man did eat. You see, and when he ate, there was a change that took place. Right. That's when your second departmental veil goes up. Now, there was an intercessor in that garden. You see, who was that? That had to be the man Adam. Who else was talking to Yahweh, going back talking to the woman? It was the man. You see?
first formed and then Eve.
Read.
And Adam was not deceived,
He was not deceived.
but the woman being deceived was in the transgression.
She was hoodwinked, bamboozled. You see, in darkness. You see, didn't know. No, she was tricked. To think she gonna become something she already was. Well, she was that. She was Elohim. But he tricked her. You see, and now the man has to take responsibility for her, the same way Yahweh took responsibility for us. You see, but now, read on. Back in Genesis, because I'm out of time.
3 and 7. And the eyes of both of them were open.
Read quickly.
And they saw, and they knew they were naked.
Read.
And so sewed fig leaves together.
In other words, folks, who else was talking to Adam other than Yahweh? It's the same thing, folks, when you're alone by yourself, and you know what? You go and you steal out of your mama's purse. And this condemnation comes over you. Ain't nobody there but you. You know, but you know what your parents told you. So you're naked, you're exposed. You see, because Moses, Yahweh, Adam knew that Yahweh, he was talking. He knew Yahweh saw him. He was exposed. But read on.
And made themselves aprons.
Uh-huh.
And they heard the voice
Read.
of Yahweh Elohim walking
I'm talking about here, folks. Read. Read on.
in the cool of the day.
Read.
And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh.
Now, how you going to ask me Yahweh? The same thing when you do something wrong, you know what you want to do? You want to get along by yourself. You just, why did I do that? You don't want to talk to nobody. You want to be bothered. You want to be alone by yourself trying to figure this thing out. And just like this woman, she tried to eat that fruit. She knew she ended up in the eating. But she knew she wanted to eat it, and everything be all right. Just like we want to do our dirt or whatever it is, and everything be all right. You see? But you're going to get exposed because Yahweh is omnipresent. You don't make no difference about yourself. You're still condemned. Some folks can't stand it. Go ahead and just tell it. What you tell that for, man? We got clean. But read on. I got to go. Read.
Hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh Elohim among the trees in the garden.
Read.
And Yahweh Elohim called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou?
Now he said, now wait, Adam, read.
And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden. I was afraid because I was naked.
So he knew, because there's a purpose, folks. Read.
And I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou was naked?
You know you was naked, boy. You see, read. You must have ate the fruit. Read.
Hast thou eaten of the tree thereof, and I commanded thee?
Y'all wouldn't have to ask him that. What did he say?
And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest me.
She's the problem. The true adversary for the man, believe it or not, is the woman. Believe me, ain't no orangutan gonna make you act the way a woman gonna make you act. Likewise, vice versa. The reason, the man, the adversary for the woman. Because believe me, the way you behave sometimes, can't no animal. I'm talking about no dog, no snake, no rat, no rodent's gonna make you behave like that. You see, because y'all always set it up that way. But let's move. Come on, my time.
The woman whom thou gavest to be with me.
In other words, what I'm saying is the woman, the adversary. The man and the woman, I don't care how small she is. Because a 5-foot woman, 5'2" can go to the prison and work and punk a guy like me and make me sit down. You know why? Because I'm not taught to respect the doggone woman, but the law, the badge, the uniform. That's what it's about. You have to respect the law. That's what it's about. And let's sit down, Joe. And listen, I'm going to sit down because you know why? Because I know if she get on the radio and blow the horn, they're going to come and put a hurt on you like you never had. That's what they do. And if you don't want that hurt, you know what you better do? Be an obedient son. And that's what Adam was. He was obedient. And I'm going to get down. Just like Noah. He feared Yahweh. He don't even scared of him. He respected him. He was obedient. Joshua was obedient to death. He knew that Yahweh was going to redeem him in the end. Now, real quick, and I'm going to get down. 2 minutes. 19. Verse 3:19. Jump, real quick.
3:19.
Mm-hmm.
In the sweat of thy face thou shalt eat bread, till thou return unto the ground.
There's your bread and your second, and your, go ahead, keep reading.
For out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and dust thou shalt return.
Jump down to 23.
Therefore Yahweh Elohim sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was
I
taken.
apologize, 22.
And Yahweh Elohim said, behold, the man is become
That's
as one
it.
of us to know evil and good.
Both good and evil. You see, good and evil. He know it now. He knew that he wasn't going to eat no fruit and get wise. The woman thought she would, because she was deceitful. Move on. Keep reading.
And now, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life.
Now, the tree of life is Joshua the Messiah. You see, this is the tree of life here. Not no physical tree. Read on.
Tree of life, and eat and live forever. Therefore,
Quickly.
Yahweh Elohim sent him forth out of the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove.
Now, he sent them out, so there's a door. There's a way out. You see? Read on. And there was an angel at the door. I'm going to have to move on. There's an angel at the door. We see, with that flaming sword in his hand. That's the light. You see? And the sweat of his brow. So there's the water. You see? And the spirit. Michael was standing here guarding the way. You see? So that's the spirit at the door. You see? And listen, they sold fig, what you call them? Goat skin, lamb skins. So there's a physical death. But the true death was a psychological and spiritual death. You see, now I hope and trust somebody got something I was said today. I tried, I did my best. I'm happy that you came out, and I hope you understand.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. And the next topic will be, what is the purpose and plan of Yahweh? And that is presented by Dr. Fred Allen of the Albuquerque Branch School, who is also a member of the International Board of Trustees.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm glad to be in Michigan to once again testify the things I've come to learn and go since I've been in this school. The founder of this school presented us with witnesses that could not be gainsaid. And what I want to do, I want to try to deal with this subject. First of all, I want to make a few statements and then get into the subject. The founder of this school said that he desired to know how Yahweh was going to judge the world in righteousness. That's in Acts 17 and 30. Now, he was looking for a way in which he was going to judge the world in righteousness. Now, I'm talking about the purpose and plan of Yahweh. Every time Dr. Kenny got on the floor, he was talking about the purpose plan of Yahweh. He didn't have to say purpose plan of Yahweh. He was explaining the mysteries of Yahweh according to the purpose of Yahweh. Now, if we receive his record or his report, then you'll be on track. But if you reject it, then you're out in the field lost. Now, that's why I want to read that. Read 17:30.
Acts 17:30. And at the times of this ignorance, Yahweh winked at.
Now, Yahweh winked at their ignorance. That's from Adam all down to really Pentecost. What were they ignorant? They didn't recognize Yahweh. They were worshiping idols and gods, and they worshiped all kinds of false images, but they would not worship Yahweh. But when Yahweh gave his son, then he required every man to repent. Read.
But now commandeth all men everywhere to repent, because he has appointed a day in the which he will judge the world in righteousness by that man whom he has ordained, whereof he has given assurance unto all men, and that he has raised him from the dead.
That he has raised him from the dead. Now, I'm saying that Yahweh has a way in which he's going to judge the world in righteousness. The founder came and reported to us what that way was. Because whatever he taught, he was able to reconcile whatever man's belief was to one. He was very proud to talk and say, all the schools that were set up at that time all taught the same thing. He was trying to reconcile man's mind to one way of thinking. And he did that because he had a pattern to go by. That was the means in which he wanted to do that. Now, give me, let's have I want to get 2 Corinthians 14:26. And I want 1 Corinthians 1:10. I need a preface for something I want to talk about at the end of the lecture. 2 Corinthians 1 Corinthians 14:26.
1 Corinthians 14:26. How was it then, brethren,
How is it then, brethren,
when ye come together?
when you come together? Now, we'll come together. And Dr. Kenny said that this Corinthians was a very small number of people. There wasn't a big crowd, a big congregation. A very, very, well, you would say a small school. But they had troubles. And he's writing back to them. He had taught them, he departed from them. Why is it when you come together?
How was it then, brethren, when ye come together, every one of you hath a psalm,
Has a song,
hath a doctrine,
has a doctrine,
hath a tongue,
has a tongue,
hath a revelation,
has a revelation,
hath an interpretation.
has an interpretation.
Let all things be done unto edifying.
Let all things be done unto edifying. Now, we should not be coming together with different concepts and opinions. I think it this way and I think it. What do you have to say about it? That was not the way the doctor taught us about this. He taught us to go by a certain path. He gave us the tools by which we should use and go by. Therefore, Paul writes to the Corinthians, 1st chapter, 1 and 10.
Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Savior, Yahweh Messiah, that you all speak the same
That
thing.
we all speak the same thing. Now that's hard to do, folks. On my job, I have the responsibility. I've got 6 men I got to teach to put that in the database the same way. That's hard. We're in the process of changing one computer to another computer system. And we got to migrate all the information over. They had to write one word for an answer to one question the same way. Recycle. They had the word recycle in there with a space before it. They had a word ready with a space after. They had it written in small letters instead of cap letters. They had over 30 different kinds of ways of putting that recycle in the database. But now we're supposed to get them all to be able to put that in the same way. See? So I'm trying to show you that it's hard to do that. But Dr. Kenny, in his way of teaching us, he was bringing us around to where we all taught the same thing. Now, after he took off the flesh, then we had ideas and opinions coming in, trying to say what he said, what he meant by what he said. That was not what he wanted to do. Now, I firmly believe, and I want to make it clear, that Dr. Kenny himself said this before he died. So I have raised up able-bodied ministers, both among the men and of the women. And they did understand and they did know. Now there's some saying they didn't understand anything what Dr. Kenny said before he died. They said he understood after he died. Now I'm going to say I understood before he died. And I'm still teaching the same way he taught it. Now you want to fault me, fine, you fault Dr. Kenny. But what I'm going to say is what Dr. Kenny taught. Now, if I'm going to say what he taught, you better believe I got something to prove it, and got something to back it up with. Now, the dark, that's what we're concerned about. We're talking about the religious world out there. We had nothing wrong with the people. It's the doctrine which is taught by the people.
Right.
That's where the problem is at. False teaching, we had it raised since we've been here. 2 Corinthians, 2 Peter, 1st chapter. Give me 1 John 4:1.
2 Peter 2:1. But there were false prophets also among the people,
There was false prophets also among the people.
even as there shall be false teachers among you.
Prophesied already. There's going to be a false teacher among yourselves. The founder said in the last day, there's going to be people, there's going to be men raised, people going to raise up among this, primary raised up in this school, that was going to speak against what he taught. So we ought to be looking for it. Are we able to identify when somebody teaches against what he taught? He said, I'm not going to squawk about that being right, that somebody raised up doing that, but I want you to be prepared to be able to reject it. And I'm here to stand by, I'm rejecting it.
Yeah.
I say, teaching that Yahweh always in shape and form is wrong. There's no proof for it. I haven't found one witness that's been presented to support it, because every one of them failed the test. If you have them always in shape and form, number one, where's the death at? This will be a death name before the foundation of the world. Number two, they changed it from that and they said that Yahweh owned. The oil ran out from it. The cloud came off from Yahweh oil. Now Dr. King told us that this was the son of Yahweh. Now you're going to say the Father came from the Son? That don't even agree with today, even a modern day thing. So you don't have no proof of that. The point I'm trying to show you that the doctrine of Yahweh always being in shape and form does not agree with what the purpose of Yahweh is about. Doesn't work. The Father is before the Son. Yahweh, a pure spirit, without any descriptive shape and form. So in pure spirit, you don't have any descriptive shape and form. They even try to go down and say, Yahweh Elohim Yahshua, Yahweh Elohim Yahshua, Yahweh Elohim Yahshua. You have that. What you're going to have back in pure spirit is going to define Yahweh Elohim Yahshua. You had nothing to describe that. This Yahweh pure spirit, there is no descriptive shape and form. When he took on shape and form, now you got structure, now you got a form. Now you got something that something can go by. Something you can read. So I look at this tabernacle pattern, well, let's do it this way. This form we took on. Dr. King said, look, that was the temple of Yahweh. Then he transformed into the tabernacle. Somebody said, well, how do you know that? But when this tabernacle, after it was set up by the children of Israel in the bull, it went across the divided waters of the river Jordan into Canaan. When the temple was raised, and this tabernacle, the function of this tabernacle was moved into the temple. So that the temple was before the tabernacle. So that we're able to see that. Now all we're doing is looking at what Yahweh has declared. Now, bear in mind, he desires that everybody speaks the same thing. How are you going to accomplish that? What have we come to this class for? When we come down to this class, we're asking questions in our own stuff. What's it all about? Why am I here? Why did I do what I do? All these are things you have in your mind when you come down to class. What you're trying to find who you really are. Yes, you have a soul, and it's important first to Yahweh. It may not be to you, but to him it is. He's concerned about your soul, and that's found in the school. He cried many times. Desire trying to find some way to get across to you the essence of what Yahweh has shown him, so that the person will be reconciled with the Father. See? Read.
But there are false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you,
Right.
who privately shall bring in damnable heresy.
Going to bring damnable or destructive heresies. Read.
Even denying Yahweh that brought them.
Even denying Yahweh that brought them. Now, there's sometimes I've heard lectures, received tapes, lectures been given. They don't even mention Yahshua the Messiah. That's the same.
Right.
He's on a mission. Reason why they don't mention, they got you all brainwashed, nothing about you being saved. If it's nothing about you being saved, why are you coming? If you don't come, if you stop coming, they ain't got no money to pay the rent. You still go about doing it. You're coming down anyhow when they say nothing about being saved. That don't even make sense, folks. Think about it. I want you to start, sit back and think about the things that's been said to you. The founder did not waste words trying to convey to you what Yahweh showed him. Now here's a man that was caught up to the third heaven, came back and brought a true report. Nobody, no man was able to refute it, dispute it, tear it apart, or nothing. They were not able to do it. We agreed, we accepted it, we went about and taught it. Evidently some understood and some didn't. But I see it, that the things he taught, it proved the divine authenticity that there is a Yahweh. He proved the accuracy of the Bible and showed that you had a soul to be saved. He did that. At least to me. Now I'm concerned about you understanding that. And I want to try to deal with that to show you where you ought to be. This very time you should have been this long time ago. Though the world was going to end several times since I've been in the school. See? And every time Yahweh showed mercy, give me a little bit of more extension of time. And we get down here for it, we all down here frustrated in our minds, scratching here. See, have I got the Holy Spirit? See? Coming down here for something. The other scripture are called
1 John 4:1.
1 John 4:1.
Beloved, believe not every spirit,
Believe not every spirit,
but try the spirits,
but try the spirit,
whether they are of Yahweh.
whether they are of Yahweh. When I came down to school, what did I have? What understanding did I have to try anybody with anything? I didn't have nothing to measure somebody by. I didn't have nothing. So I had to come down and he had to show and teach us how to use or how to be able to detect, to discern between a false teaching and a true teaching. And he armed us. He gave us witnesses. He did not present false witnesses. They act. They support what he taught. And if you use them, they will never fail. Now, read on.
Because many false prophets are gone out into the world.
Many false prophets go on to read.
Hereby know ye the Spirit of Yahweh. Every spirit that confesses that Yahshua the Messiah is come in the flesh is of Yahweh. And every spirit that confesses not that Yahshua the Messiah is come in the flesh is not of Yahweh.
Read.
And this is the spirit of the anti-Messiah.
This is the spirit of the anti-Messiah.
Whereof ye have heard that it should come, and even now already it is in the world. Ye are of Yahweh, little children.
Ye are of Yahweh, little children.
And have overcome them.
And you have overcome them.
Because greater is he that is in you.
Greater is he that is in you.
than he that is in the world.
Than he that is in the world. That if you have received the Holy Spirit. Read.
They are of the world.
They are of the world.
Therefore speak they of the
Then
world.
they're going to speak of the world. Read.
And the world heareth them.
And read.
You are of Yahweh.
You are of Yahweh.
He that knoweth Yahweh heareth us. He that is not of Yahweh
He is
heareth
not of
not.
Yahweh. Heareth not us. Read.
Hereby know ye the spirit of truth.
Now you said, now hereby know ye the spirit of truth
And the spirit of error.
and the spirit of error. So that one time you got to come to the point where you know the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. When I hear something and it does not agree with what I've understood the purpose of Yahweh to be, I got a rejection. A rejection. It can be, I don't take a long time to go search around with the scriptures, go around with the Bible and all. I don't have to do that. I quickly, look, when you understand the purpose of Yahweh, He's got a purpose, He's got a plan. When something is presented, I'm checking the purpose of Yahweh out, and we're checking the plan He's got. If you don't fall in harmony with it, it's rejected. Now, what did Yahweh purpose? What did He declare back here in pure spirit before He took on any shape or form? What was He planning to execute? We got to know that first, so we'll be able to follow where it is. Maybe we have this read, Ephesians, start with 1:4. No, I want to do it different than that. We run it all the time. Let's get the 3rd chapter, verse 1. Let's read.
Ephesians 3:1. For this cause I, Paul, the prisoner of Yahshua Messiah. For
Now he said he's a prisoner of Yahshua Messiah. He can't see nothing but Yahshua Messiah. That was not his history. He was not that way all the time. Something happened to him, where he was convinced that this Yahweh, was something to deliver him from the state he was in. And he became captivated. Couldn't see nothing but him. That made him a prisoner of Yahshua Messiah. Read.
For you Gentiles.
For you Gentiles. Now he's talking to Gentiles. Read.
If ye have heard of the dispensation of the grace of Yahweh.
Now if you have heard of the dispensation of the grace of Yahweh, read. Now if we're talking about grace, folks, we are all here by grace.
Yes. Yes.
They've had thousands of people in this building today. But think about you and the ones that are sitting at the table. And you may eat of the things that be of Yahweh. Now you can either accept them or you reject them. That's purely between you and Yahweh. So you read on.
Which is given me to you word. How that by revelation he made known unto me the mystery.
Now he said was by revelation was made known to him the mystery. He did not have a revelation without a vision. He saw a vision first, then he had a revelation of it. This is Yahweh's way of dealing with mankind. When he talked to the prophets, they saw a vision. And then he imparted to them what he thus wanted him to say or do. And they went about doing it. So Saul, when he saw the vision, he now had something been revealed to him. Read.
How that by revelation he made known unto me the mystery, as I wrote aforetime.
It's a mystery that he wrote aforetime. Read on.
Whereby when ye read,
ye
may understand my knowledge in the mystery of Yahweh.
that you may understand his knowledge in the mystery of Yahweh. Read on.
which in other ages was not made known.
That says in other ages it was not made known. Back in Adam, Noah, they boys said they did not know this mystery. Yahweh did not reveal to them this mystery. Kept it locked up in himself to the appointed time to reveal it. But read.
In other ages was not made known unto the sons of men, as it is now revealed unto the holy apostles.
Now it's been revealed. After Pentecost, it was revealed. Read.
And is now revealed unto the holy apostles and prophets by the Spirit.
By the Spirit. Read.
That the Gentiles should be fellow heirs of the same body. And
now it says the Gentiles, they're going to be fellow heirs of the same body. The body already started with the Jews. Now you're going to bring the Gentiles in. So there's nothing different between the Jew and the Gentile now. Read.
And partakers of his promise in Yahshua Messiah by the gospel.
Taking of the promise by what?
In Yahshua.
Wait, repeat it again. What you get what he said there. Partakers
of his promise in
Yahshua.
In Yahshua.
In Yahshua.
By the gospel.
Remember, he promised. Look, folks, I'm trying to get back to his purpose now. He promised it. If he promised he's going to carry it out. He is not select concerning his promise when he comes select. See, I want you to see that he has something that he had already set up, and all he's doing is carrying it out. And you are a part of it. See, it involves each and every last one. Dr. Kenny made time. See? Somebody said, well, I don't get up on the floor. I don't do this. I'm just coming trying to go to class. You are important as well. Nobody, I don't care how high you are, how low you are, or whatever title you have, or script you have, or not, you are important to Yahweh. Why? Because you have a soul that can be saved. And he's going through all this to do that. He chose the preaching of the gospel to save sinners. That's right. See, I might have had a better way of doing it. I would design a pill. Give you a pill and take it to be done with. Maybe everybody just write his best out pill. But anyway, he chose it. He said he chose about the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe. Right. So you got to preach the gospel, and somebody got to believe it. Right. But not everybody's not going to believe it. So there's going to be somebody that's going to protest it. That should be expected. But it's going to be there. Read a little bit more, please.
Thereof I was made a minister according to the gift of grace of Yahweh, given unto me by the effectual working of his power.
Read.
Unto me, whom am less than the least of all sons, is this grace given.
Now he's humbling himself. He's not this great Apostle Paul we would try to be him, talk about being great. He's humbling himself. He said he's a prisoner of Yahshua Messiah. He's not trying to draw himself above Yahshua Messiah. Read. I got two more verses of it.
Unto me, who am the less than the least of all sons, is this grace given, that I should preach among the Gentiles.
That I should preach among the Gentiles.
The unsearchable riches of Yahshua.
Of Yahshua. Read.
And to make all men see.
Now he's going out to make all men see.
What is the fellowship of the mystery?
What is the fellowship of the mystery?
Which from the beginning of the world has been hid in
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
From the beginning of the world with Yahweh, read.
Has been hidden in Yahweh, who created all things by Yahshua Messiah.
Who created all things by Yahshua Messiah. So the Father, when he took on shape and form, he became the Son, and by him created all things. See? But now I'm going to go back in his spirit. I got to find out what was this mystery. What was this purpose that was set up back there? First chapter now. 1:4.
Ephesians 1:4.
Somebody give me Isaiah 46:9-10. Somebody give me Exodus, 1 Corinthians 15:27. I want to lay this purpose out now. Then we're going to see how it's going to be executed.
Ephesians 1:4. According as he hath chosen us
According as he has chosen us.
in
He
him.
has chosen us. That means you that was chosen. Read.
In him.
In him. Read.
Before the foundation.
Before the foundation of the world. That means back here, he knew you.
Yes.
But you did not know him.
Right.
That puts you in a mystery.
Yes.
And he had that mystery locked up in him until he was ready to reveal it and make it known. Read.
That we should be holy
That we, now this is the mystery now, that we should be holy,
and without blame
without blame,
before him
in
love.
love. That's what he purposed back here. That we made a recipient of the Holy Spirit, and that should be, you should be the fulfillment. You should be all that.
Yes.
Now, follow along now.
Having predestinated us
Having predestinated us
unto the adoption of children
unto the adoption of children
by Yahshua the Messiah,
by Yahshua the Messiah. You're adopted by Yahshua Messiah. Read.
to himself,
Unto himself. Read.
according to the good pleasure of his will, to the praise of the glory of his grace,
To the praise and the glory of his grace. Read.
wherein he hath made us accepted in the beloved,
And read. He made it accepted in the beloved. In the beloved. Read.
in whom we have
In
redemption.
whom we have redemption. Now we're being redeemed. There's something, you're being redeemed. You're not being cast out. If you cast something out, that means you don't have it anymore. Now, I just have a problem with this concept. Because if you get a new soul, the new soul don't know nothing about the old soul. So that would mean that somewhere along you should have a blackout. Know nothing about what you did in the past. You're off to a fresh start now. What would? If I throw my old man, if I throw that out, if everything I think about now, throw away, at some point, if that really happens, I either should be blacked out or I should die. Then, the so-called new soul comes to get in. Now I have no remembrance of the old. That does not demonstrate power. It does not demonstrate love. We're talking about the attributes of Yahweh now. People find something that's laying around, been out in the wind, the rain, the snow, and all this type of thing. They sit out there, somebody's getting one of the boys. You come and say, "Hey, I'd like to have that." What are you going to do with it? Come on, clean it up, fix it up. Take it out, clean it out, fix it up real nice. You come by and see the thing. Wow! You restored it. You made it new. See? Now he gave it to you as junk. But you transformed it into something now the man wants to pay money for. It become valuable. You transformed it. You renewed it. That's what he's doing with your soul. You died in your conscience. You was against Yahweh. And he had to come along and trigger you, wake you up, cause your conscience to understand the mystery of Yahweh. Now read on down where you're at. I gotta get down
In
here.
whom we have redemption through his blood.
We have redemption through the certain way you gotta come. You can't just grab about anything. That's not gonna save your soul. There's a certain thing that's gotta be preached to save a soul. It might be old hat to you, but it's still required.
That's right.
Yes, I'm talking about blood, water, spirit, water. Yes.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
50, 60, 70, and 80. All of it is important
That's right.
to save a soul. And I'm talking about the essence of you. Your mind. That's what's condemned. Your mind is likened unto your soul, Dr. Kenny said. So if I think wrong, it's possible to change that thinking to where you have a better understanding and think right. That's a change of the soul. Where you thought wrong, you be made things right. I thought, because I was raised, that water baptism was necessary for salvation. Even the Lord's Supper was necessary for salvation. See? Washing feet was a good. See? That's the way I thought. And I was looking to Oceanside as my Savior. Or Jesus Christ at that time. Now some had to be said to transform my mind and say it was not Jesus. It was Yahweh. And he was fulfilling and moving it out of the way. Now when he did move it out of the way, you don't do that no more. Now I got a different mindset. I don't think that way no more. Now that means there's a change in the soul. The mind has changed. See? I haven't got down, I got to get down my purpose. Yes, I could have. Go ahead, read on.
Even the forgiveness of sins.
Even the forgiveness of sin. Your sins have been forgiven. But you got to accept Joshua. Read.
According to the riches of his grace,
Mm-hmm.
wherein he hath abounded towards us in all wisdom and prudence.
All wisdom and proof. Read.
Having made known unto
Having made known unto us. On the day of Pentecost, he's talking about those disciples received the Holy Spirit. 4 years later, Paul received the Holy Spirit. See? But read on.
having made known unto us the mystery of his will.
The mystery of his will. We're trying to seek out what his mystery was, what the will was, what was his purpose, what was his goal that he had. Would you get a football team together? We'll go play another team, and they know nothing about the sport. That would be a pivotal situation. You're out in the field, and the guy gives you the ball, and you run it down to the other man's goal. Or you go the other way. This you wouldn't know. Going outside, you would be in a bad shape. That would be the funniest football game. You made me laugh on that. It would be a funny football. Now we're talking about, I'm trying to use some humor in this thing, because you all can see what we're talking about. The teams get on first, they have an idea of the game. They know certain rules of the game to play it in. Now we're trying to come down to understand his mindset. What did he declare? And then when we find out what he declared, then how do we conform to that? That's what we're trying to do. So we're trying to find out what his purpose is. So now what did he purpose now? He said he made known to them on the day of Pentecost. Read.
According to his good pleasure which he hath purposed in himself.
Read.
That in the dispensation of the fullness of time.
That in the dispensation of the fullness of time.
He might gather together.
He's going to gather together.
In one.
In one. Not a bunch, in one. You can't make him be Joshua, then make him be Paul, then make him be Dr. Kelly, and anybody else. It won't work. There's only one Savior. One name. Whereby you can be saved. Be of anybody else, you're wrong. I don't care who you are. And anybody believes anybody greater than Yahweh, they need a head exam. Now I know. So somebody might think this might be funny. But I'm dead serious about it. So I know that every time I get on this floor and speak to anybody, whether it be one-on-one, 2, or 1,000 people, I know that what I say is affecting people's minds, their soul, and I'm concerned about it. See? You don't have anybody greater than Yahweh. The book says, his name is going to be great in this age and the ages to come. As great as you all thought about Elvis Presley, his name is not going to do it in the next age. It's going to be Yahweh. Read on.
That in the dispensation of the fullness of times we might gather together in one, all things in Yahshua, both which are in heaven,
Both which are in heaven,
and which are on
and which
earth,
are on earth.
even in him.
Even in him. So now his purpose back here, they declare that everything will be gathered together in his son, Yahshua Messiah. In heaven and earth. Now that's what his purpose back here. Now all we see from that on is nothing but him executing or going back to fulfill that. So he declared it, that was done right at the beginning. I don't have time to read it now, I'm moving now. Because back here he declared, see, now if he declared it back here, that's the beginning. The end's going to have to be the same thing. So if you have him back here, where he said, now he's gathering everything into his son. His son, Yahweh took on shape and form, which was the death, died for his creation before he was created. Then he goes about, creates a physical creation, angelic creation, and then a physical creation. We're in the physical creation. See? Glory is going back into him. Now, when everything is gathered under Yahshua's side, according to his purpose now, see, what happens when he gathers everything in heaven and the earth in his son? That's not the end of it. See? 1 Corinthians 15:27.
1 Corinthians 15:27. For he has put all things under his feet.
When he put everything under his feet, not mine, under his. Read.
But when he saith all things are put under him,
When he said all things are put under him,
it is manifest that he is accepted.
he
Which did put
put
all things under him.
he put all things under him. Now that means that Yahweh, he's not included in that. Everything else is included in it until we're under Yahshua's side. Everything together. Read.
It is manifest that he is accepted which did put all things under him.
Now he was the one responsible for everything being put under him. Read.
And when all things shall be subdued unto him, then shall the Son also himself be subject unto him.
Then the Son will be subject unto him. That means that this Yahweh Elohim, everything's gathered back under him, which is Yahshua. Because all things are made by Yahshua. See? Then everything's gathered back under Yahshua, then he's going to submit himself back to the Father, that the Father might be all in all. See? Now, what does that mean? That means it's been a round trip.
That's right.
See? Now, being stated, I can't see going back in the pure spirit. Why? Because I don't want to lose my identity. And that's what's being said now. I got to take the proof. See? Now, if it happens, see, this is why the other reason why I rejected Yahweh Elohim always been in shape and form. If he's always in shape and form, He's not going back in the pure spirit. And I see he's got to go back in it because he came out.
That's right.
He said, that's what Dr. Kennedy delivered unto us. See? Going back through Yahshua Messiah. Somebody said, well, now I don't know about that. Now, I said he declared the beginning back from the end. He's actually, in other words, he told what was going to happen. He did not tell Abraham what was going to happen to his offspring. Did what he said to Abraham come to pass?
Yeah.
When he told Moses what was going to happen to him when he went down to Egypt, did he tell him what was going to happen? Did it come to pass?
Yeah.
Now what I'm gaining confidence that what he said he's going to do. He's going to execute it. He's going to bring it to pass. Words going out of his mouth cannot return into void. He is going to do that. How is he going to do that? Now, let's see if I can put it together this way. When the Messiah, I better get another verse before I do that. Let me have 2 Corinthians 5:17. Read that.
2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if any man be in Yahshua, he is a new creature.
If any man be in Yahshua, he is a new creature.
Old things are passed away.
All things are passed away. That's the old man. Passed away. Read.
Behold, all things are become new.
All things have become new. Read.
And all things are of Yahweh Elohim,
All things are of Yahweh Elohim,
who hath reconciled us
who hath reconciled us
to himself
unto himself
by Yahshua.
by the vessel Yahweh. He reconciled us. Read on.
And hath given to us
And hath given to us,
the ministry of
we got the
reconciliation.
ministry of reconciliation. So what we preach should be reconciling us instead of tearing us apart.
Right.
Somebody's off track. Something should be reconciling us. Read.
To wit, that Yahweh Elohim was in Yahshua,
Yahweh Elohim was in Yahshua. What doing?
reconciling the world.
Reconciling
Reconciling
the world unto himself. He's not proving it to himself. He's reconciling it to himself. The difference. He don't need to prove anything to himself. He already knows what he can do. You and I don't want to know. And he's demonstrated by things he's doing down to the age of dispensation to prove he can do what he said he's going to do. He didn't say, maybe Moses, you go down and Egypt, maybe I'll help you get you out of Egypt. Maybe we might be able to come out of there. Turn him up front. You stand him down and go down and deliver the children out of Egypt. Now Moses, he ain't gonna let you go. That's discouraging. Tell me going to stand him down there and deliver him, then come out there, he ain't gonna let him go. But he will do it. See, with a strong hand. When you're going to come out, you'll come out with a lot of suffering. See? Okay, read on. I got to move on.
reconciling the world unto himself.
I got to go. I got to wrap this up real quick. See? Look, folks, this doctrine is great. It covers every aspect that you have. Whatever you bring to God. But I want you to go with one thought tonight about this purpose. See? And how it involves you. Now, you're going to have to read for me quick. When Joshua, see, in John, 17th chapter, begin with the 10th verse, read the 10 and 11, and I want you to skip down to the 21st. Also, when you get Philippians 2 and 5. So you read that one first and see where we're going.
John 17:1.
No, Philippians, I want Philippians first.
Philippians 2:5.
Uh-huh.
Let this mind be in you, which was also in Yahshua
Now she's
Messiah.
reading what she says in the book. Let this mind be in you, which is in Yahshua Messiah. So it gets no, not mine, but mine is something changed. See? He said, let the spirit be in you, which is in Yahshua Messiah. Now, if you talk about the spirit that was in Yahshua being you, that's going to make you one with him. Because you're going to be in agreement with him. So let the spirit be in you, which was in Yahshua side. So that's what we're striving down here. If you don't know what you're striving for down here, I'm telling you now, you're striving to be one with him.
Yes. Yes.
Let's see if that's true or not. Here's Yahshua. John 17:10.
John 17:10. And all mine are thine,
All mine are thine.
and thine are
He's
mine,
praying to the Father. All mine are thine. Read.
and thine are mine,
And thine are mine.
and I am glorified in them.
And I'm glorified in them.
And now I am no more in the world,
Now I'm no more in the world,
but these are in the world,
but my disciples, they're still in the world. Read.
and I come to thee.
And I come to thee.
Holy Father,
Holy Father,
keep through thine own name
keep them through thy own name.
those whom thou hast given me,
Those which thou hast given me,
that they may be one
that they may be one
as we are.
as we are one. So his prayer is asking for his disciples to be one with him and the Father. So you're going to have the same like mind
Right.
as he had. See? Now, if I have a mind that's not in that same state, see, when I come to understand and acquire that same mind, I have taken on a new identity. Now I got a new identity. See? What you're really doing down in this school is you're coming here to lose your identity.
Yeah.
We're not trying to save Charles. We're not trying to save Beverly Allen, Rosalie. See, we're not trying to save them. We want a new creature. Until they can have the same mind he had. 21st verse.
That they all may be one,
That they all may be one,
as thou, Father, art.
as thou, Father, and we are one.
And I in thee,
I in thee,
that they also may be one in us.
that they may be also one in us. You see what's happening now? When you accept the gospel, you become one with him. Now you're acquiring the same mind he had. Why? How you do that? You know why he walked on water. You know why he was baptized. You know why he did the thing. Why he died. Why he raised him. You come to understand that, and it's giving you the same mind or the same spirit that he had.
Yeah.
That's making you one with him. Now my old Fred Allen is gone. Now I have a new understanding. My old Fred Allen's gone. But now, see, we should have the mind or the spirit that was in Yahshua Messiah.
That's right.
Making us one. See how he's reconciling us one? Remember, he said, let them be one. Even as you and I are one. Read on.
That the world may believe that thou hast sent me,
That the world may believe that thou hast sent me.
and the glory which thou gavest me I have given them,
Uh-huh.
that they may be one,
That they may be one
even as we are one.
as we are one. See? Read on.
I in them and thou in me,
Right. Thou in them and thou in me. Read.
that they may be made perfect in one,
That they may be made perfect in one.
and that the world may know that thou hast sent me,
That the world may know that thou hast sent me.
and hast loved them
and hast loved them
as thou hast loved me.
as thou hast loved me. So the idea was getting you to become one with the Father. Okay. Now, when you come to understand why the Messiah did the things he did, why he did what he did, you then acquire the same mind that he had to do the same thing. He said he knew where he came from, and he knew where he was going. When we came to school, we didn't know where we were going, didn't know much about how we came, and somebody tell us. See? But now you get an understanding that we came forth from spirit. See? That's the ultimate source. You also know, now we know we're going back. You're gaining the same mind. So when you come to understand who you really are, Dr. Kennedy labored hard with us. I'm Yahweh the body, and so are you.
Right, yes,
Because you didn't know. When you say you could not find out. That's what the gospel being preached, that you might become one with him, that you might know that you are Yahweh. Eve didn't know she was Yahweh. We didn't know we were Yahweh. That's right. So Dr. Ken pointed out to us. Did I not save your law? That you are Elohim? See? Now when you come to understand really what you are now one with the Father. See? Now, you're being formed in the body of Yahshua Messiah. And as we are complete in him, talk about an understanding, wisdom, love, beauty, we take on those divine attributes, we are going to be one. And when we are one with him, then he's going to submit it back to the Father.
yes, yes.
That the Father might be all in all. See, because remember, he knew us back here. We didn't know him, but he knew us back here. Now we're going back to the Father, knowing where we came from, knowing that we are now, as the Apostle Paul John said, that we are the son of Yahweh. And by being the son, what are we going to do? We're going to glorify the Father. But he's the one that did the work.
Yes.
He's the one that came, see, through Yahshua Messiah. Worked the work. Worked out our salvation. Paid the price. He took upon him our sins. And then gave us his spirit. That we might be one with him. See? And when you're one with him, you're one with the Father. That's what we're striving for. That's what we're striving for. To know that we are Yahweh.
Yes.
And when we know that, and then we are at peace. See? We are at peace with ourselves. And that's a big job there. But when you get peace with yourself, then you're going to be peace with other man. See? You see, he didn't come to the world to be peace. See? But if you have him, that's the only way you're going to have peace. If God's believe.
Yes.
Come back and learn all you can before you turn into the second.
Hallelujah.